Don't bite my feet. This goes to see some. Don't bite my feet. Don't bite my feet. Better not bite my feet. Woo! is, but it's different. It's side now. Cat? You're not gonna do the cow? Then you're going? You're gonna, hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm just mixing my tea. I'm gonna get this reading going. Because I got a funny feeling when I drink this tea, I might want to run to the bathroom. You know how some of you people always need a cigarette and a coffee in the AM. You'll get that coffee and boom, it's like crack patients crack heads waiting on crack. They can't even smoke because they gotta run to the bathroom. You know that. I know because I dope some of that stuff, and I remember how everybody used to be. So it's the same thing, and that's that barberwick, dandelion, and something else, tea. And I always put cinnamon in it. Cinnamon is very good for your blood pressure as well. So it's the Yeti. All my containers are Yeti. They keep heat and they keep cold, and you can't beat that. I'm gonna try and readjust this because I know the lighting is a little weird, a little off. You know what I mean? Okay. I've got stuff up here that I got to get rid of, and I got some pills and stuff that I've been looking at that I just don't need. So it's kind of cluttering my nightstand, which I used to keep my gun and my ammo in, that I can grab when I'm asleep. But this is what I did when I changed my linen out. I'm going through things, getting got a garbage bag, and I'm just throwing a whole lot of stuff in. Some of the stuff, somebody might be like, yeah, give it to somebody. If I don't see there's a benefit in it, though I may have spent $10, $15, $20, $30, I'm not going to keep it. I want to move that a little closer because the lighting really sucks. And like I said, I don't feel like pulling out that little round light and putting it behind it like everybody does. I'm just not into that. To me, it's kind of goofy. I'm not saying you don't have to do it. I'm just saying me, I find it goofy. If you dig what I'm saying. I got my gun, my ammo bags. I went to the range too. I got food in the oven. I was like, I gotta get back, and we were all talking, and we leave the phones in our vehicles, even though it's cameras and they can listen to us talking as a Marine, and we know a lot of officers in the military are just no good now these days, and a lot of these officers want to belong to something, so regardless of being in the military, they'll sell you short, and a lot of people are very aware of it. Excuse that. I popped 20 rounds down range. Some old hollow points that I wanted to make sure were good. Safety one. So it doesn't need to be clean. I mean, I could probably put 1,000 rounds through it and be good. You know what I mean? No, I didn't shave yet. I'm going to shave here after I eat. Then I'm going to shave it all up, so when you see me read later on, you get a whole different picture. So, keep this reading off. Where's it at? Okay, I'm going to read this one little part here. This is from the Reptilians in the History of Humankind, the Anunnaki, by Henry Crane. Okay, let's turn this down a little more. Y'all believe they took this and they tried to give me they did it. And it better not stand. A copyright strike for something that I've showed y'all before that is Western Wild West instrumental themes, no copyright music, in their YouTube no copyright studio. And they actually tried to give me after all. I was like, these people are hard pressed. But they should know better. If they knew better, they'd do better. And that's all I'm going to say to that. Anyway, check this out. One of the most ancient and interesting civilizations is the Carthaginians, who performed human sacrifices out of two reasons: the favor of the gods and population control. They sacrificed the newborns, and it is believed that between 800 146 BC, the civilization sacrificed 2,000 babies. It is also worthy to mention the Hindu civilization, not Indians, not East Indians. They venerated with sacrifices the goddess Shakti. And in Bengal, these sacrifices were practiced until the 19th century. It is unbelievable how these gods manipulated, that's right, all the way up until the 1920s and shit like that. 18, yeah. I told you to study about the Theosophical Society. These gods manipulated, it is unbelievable how these gods manipulated all these ancient civilizations. However, this does not end here. One of the books that clearly shows us how the gods demanded human sacrifices since the beginning of the times is the Bible. And we see how in the Old Testament, Yahweh, but I told you about Yehoah, it's a demon, or God, however you want to see it. This God, Yahweh, this God, self-called the only God and creator of humankind, demanded sacrifices to ease his anger. So if you really understand the Bible and you're not just listening to some idiot talking about, and when I was 20 years old, on Fridays we used to go out and do the jigbo, you know, pure nonsense. Anyway, for example, we read in Judges 11:31, whatever comes out of the home of my house to meet me when I return in triumph from the Ammonites will be the Lord's, and I will sacrifice it as a holocaust. Excuse me. Well, holocaust comes from the Latin holocaustum, and according to the Israelites, it means sacrifice at which the victim is completely burnt. Now, we know that these people calling themselves Israelites are the farthest thing from it. They are the complete opposite. Yet in another biblical site, we can read, and Jehovah, and we know what demon or God that is, said to Moshe, take all the princes of these people and hang them before Jehovah in front of the sun, and Jehovah's anger, just pay attention, will turn away from Israel. Numbers 25:4. Now in Exodus 13:1 and 2, Jehovah said to Moses, and he you know, these Masonic individuals use these different terms. You need to remember that, because they're speaking for their Satan, their Lucifer. Anyway, Jehovah said to Moses, consecrate to me every firstborn male. The firstborn from every womb among the Israelites belongs to me, both of man and beast. Man and beast. In order to understand this verse, we have to know what consecrate means. According to the definition, it means dedicate or grant a person or other thing to God as a cult or vow. We also read in Exodus 22:29, 30, chapter 29, verses 29 to 30, you shall not delay the news of your harvest nor winery. You shall offer me the firstborn of your sons, and you shall do the same with your ox and sheep's firstborns. For 7 days he will be with his mother, and at the 8th day you will offer him to me. It is clear that this God, Jehovah, jumping Jehoshaphat, you need to know it's a demon, was the very same God Enlil. And we'll get to that. Enlil. We will see it later. Trust me. And in Greece, in the Greek mythology, offerings and sacrifices were made in the name of the gods to gain their favors. We never had a written biblical text. All this is from the 13th and the Hindu and these fake pieces of excrement that know a truth, but they would rather pervert it than save themselves because they believe. Well, regardless of what they believe, they're compelled because of the decision. We have choices. They made a choice. The problem is most people have been paying for it for millennia. It will stop, and they will tear like the drop of dew that does not fall on their head in that day, that they will seek favor, and it shall never be deemed or given. And they will want and cry out, a cry so boisterous, so loud, and so silent, it'll never be heard. And they will reap the whirlwind. And I hope they're watching. There's nothing they can do to stop it. beast, nor man, nor human, or anything of mankind. Nothing. They could have made things right. They've been given ample time. But there are other factors and forces in play. You're not alone. Trust me. But their part has to play out. It solidifies. Yeah, they have a chance. A very slim, fucking marginalized chance. But there are so many sicklings walking around. They are convinced and believe in what they're doing. Like the video I haven't posted yet of the idiots cutting the brand new rail lines to cause another derailment. Of course, pasties. But it is what it is. Let's go ahead and get into George Jones, An Original History of Ancient America. I still appreciate the donations. I thank you all for taking the time and putting up with this banter. Section 2, painting. Painting. Well, when we left off, we were at this part right here. Canova, Chantry, and Greno may justly be regarded as historians, for from the volumes of their art, events and areas can be traced and established. Painting. Space. The most beautiful in the... And I just read this word because I knew I was going to see it again. Triumvirate of the arts proudly follows sculpture in her classic path. The precedents only yielded as to one of elder birth, who, attired in her snow-white raiment, marches forward with majestic step, casting her shadow to the confines of history, while her graceful follower, clad in the rainbow-tainted garments and having no shadow of herself, receives her colored brilliancy from the glowing sun of genius, and thence in gratitude reflects back her pictorial light to illuminate the mind. Now, it's a whole lot of nothing being said, and the most pragmatic is what she is wearing, what is the cause, what is perceived, what is taking place, and then we get into the genius from the sun that allows the brilliance to be seen, and thence in gratitude, reflection of gratitude, we get back her pictorial light to illuminate the mind. Do you get that? My apologies about the lighting, y'all. This delightful art may be defined to be a species of poetic and historic writing, and subservient to the same ends, the expression of ideas and events, of nature and her children. It bears resemblance to the diamond in the dark recesses of the earth, which by its own innate quality emits sparkling rays of light, thereby not only, listen, by which its own innate quality emits sparkling rays of light, thereby not only discovering its own splendor, but giving a luster to obscurity. It doesn't matter. It knows there's a knowing of beauty within self that does not need to be known or pushed out there or seen by all. Of course, that's who we were at one time. Now we're running around listening to idiots, men and women or things, making you believe that you got to wear Gucci and Tommy Boy and all this other Hilfiger and all this other goofy stuff. Painting has her direct claims to be received as authority for past events and records, and in illustration may be cited the life and history of the Savior. The pictorial art alone was for centuries the only record whereby the mass of the people could read that sacred life. So they're talking about us. The cross upon the banners, shields, and pennons of the Crusaders spoke to the Christian heart. Even above the din of arms are the yell of battle. When the Latin was the general tongue of prayer and preaching, the pictorial art sprung into life with redoubled power, and from the painting above the altar representing the crucifixion, the people learned that Christ suffered. Now, this is the whole hogwash, but pay attention. It alone reached the heart in understanding, while the Latin language reached only the ears of the unlettered. So, is it talking about literal Jesus, or is it speaking as what we've been through before? The mind's fluctuation, the inner light. Pay attention. Has not the life of the Redeemer been traced through every event by the painter's magic art? Who's the painter? Who's the magic art? Who's the describer? The Annunciation, Nativity, Disputation in the Temple, Healing the Sick and the Blind, Last Supper and Sacrament, Rejection by Pilate, Crucifixion and the Resurrection and Transfiguration are the pictorial volumes of our religion. Angelo da Vinci, Raphael, Murillo, Rubens, and West were as essentially historians of sacred events as Plutarch, Levi, Tacitus, Gibbon, Hume, and Robertson were those of a national and political character. Painting has traced upon the galleries of Versailles the chief events of the French kingdom of the empire and its glory. And in the present day, the new walls of England's parliament are to be decorated with her deeds of chivalry, sacred to her historic and undying fame. The walls of the American Capitol contain listen to this, the walls of the American Capitol contain the imperishable history of Washington and the freedom of the Western Hemisphere. Paintings then will not be rejected as evidence of events or of religious and national records. Again, paintings then will not be rejected as evidence or events or of religious and national records. That's all Masonic code for, they're doing a number on our land and instilling a false prophet, savior. And that's all Washington was. Section 3, coins and medals. These are admitted species of historic evidence, and as lasting ones, perhaps beyond all others. A series of them is the most certain method of arranging a chronological tablet and thereby preserving the data of history, mythology, portraits, customs, and art. The reader will excuse the relation of an anecdote to which may be traced the production of the present work which may be traced the production of the present work. At the early age of 9 years, a small ancient coin came into the accidental possession of the writer. Its stamp and character were enveloped in mystery, and recourse was had to an antiquary to decipher them. God dog, man. The obverse of the coin contained a profile head, and around it the letters AVG VSTVS. On the reverse, a temple with the doors closed, surmounted by the word Providentia. The explanation was as follows. A coin of Augustus Caesar. The temple was that of Janus, and the doors of which had been open for nearly 2 centuries as emblematical of the continuance of Roman warfare with the foreign countries. But on the coin, the doors were closed, foreign countries, and with the word of thanksgiving were symbolical of universal peace. I'm going to finish this and I'm going to go back to something. Thus proving that the coin was struck the very year in which the Savior was born. Thus upon one coin were illustrated the features of the second Roman emperor, mythology. The second Roman emperor, mythology. Cessation of war, the downfall of Brutus and Cassius, and the defeat of Antony, and the birth of Christianity. So if that is when it happened, doesn't that change the narrative as far as the time frame? They have several different time frames and nobody pays attention to none of it. To allude to the fact that they have so perversely, undivinely walked into a situation and with lost history, identity, and the sacrilege of war have preserved the phenomenon, to which is not a phenomenon, the perversion of history. This simple incident made so powerful an impression upon the boyhood of the realtor that to it He has always traced the foundation of his scriptural, historical, and poetical studies together with an enthusiastic devotion to the fine arts. But here you have up here an emblematical of the continuance of Roman warfare with foreign countries. Did not the Vatican, Papa Bull, if you want to express that or utilize that, bring war against us? Who are these new individuals? Well, we know that when they created the fake Zionist narrative of history and religion, these fake 13 tribe individuals, it doesn't mean that there's not something there real. The problem is it has nothing to do with outside materials. They took the eternal and made it external, and upon utilizing war and those who they embarked alongside as converts to perpetrate a fraud against their own people worldwide or earthwide. And if I'm wrong, correct me. And it's still ongoing now because you see the so-called Nazis. Well, they're still existing. And I told you that there were many different colors. I shared so many pictures of the Nazis, and even some of our people fought in the Blitzkrieg along with the so-called Nazis, false name, with the Germans, okay? Because it was for blood sacrifice. Hitler and Abel Brown didn't die. Willing sacrifices, and those who would commit suicide did. As a tool for fear, to which didn't work because the same individuals who have committed themselves to carrying out these murders to silence them from telling the truth are the same bastards who right now are creating mass genocide on an unprecedented scale. And now they want everybody to go fight in this war against Russia. Right now, Ukraine's fighting Ukraine. Those Russian sympathizers and the Ukrainians. If Russia was to actually go over there and fight, Ukraine wouldn't be nothing. Talking about, we got a Russian soldier. He converted to our side. They're fighting Ukrainians. And we got a bunch of damn racist ass pasties from over here going over there to fight alongside them, just like from Great Britain and everywhere else, so-called Britain, not great nothing, England, and just like that dumb niggerish doctor, that 33rd degree went over there. I haven't heard from that bastard. He's probably still working, trying to save lives. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into Arthur Koestler, the 13th tribe. And if I'm wrong, show me that I'm wrong. Okay, here we are. And this is the second part to chapter 4. Early Russian culture belittled, Soviet historian rebuked. What is it? Somebody controlling the volume or something? Another Soviet historian has been criticized by Pravda for belittling the early culture and development of the Russian people. He is Professor Artemonov, who at a recent session of the Department of History and Philosophy at the USSR Academy of Sciences repeated a theory which he had put forward in a book in 1937 that the ancient city of Kiev owed a great deal of the Khazar peoples. He pictures them in the role of an advanced people who fell victim to the aggressive aspirations of the Russians. All these things, says Pravda, have nothing in common with historical facts. The Khazar kingdom, which represented the primitive amalgamation of different tribes, played no positive role whatever in creating the statehood of the Eastern Slavs. Ancient sources testify that the state formation arose among the Eastern Slavs long before any record of the Khazars. The Khazar kingdom, far from promoting the development of the ancient Russian state, retarded the progress of the Eastern Slav tribes, and the materials obtained by our archaeologists indicate the high level of culture in ancient Russia. Because obviously we know this part of Tartaria, and it was not called Russia, but anyway, only by flouting the historical truth and neglecting the facts can one speak of the superiority of the Khazar culture. The idealization of the Khazar kingdom reflects a manifest survival of the defective views of the Burgoy's historians who belittled the indigenous development of the Russian people. The erroneousness of this concept is evident. Such a conception cannot be accepted by Soviet historiography. Artemonov, whom I have frequently quoted, published, and in parentheses it states, besides numerous articles in learned journals, and his first book, which dealt with the early history of the Khazars in 1937. His magnum opus, History of the Khazars, was apparently a preparation when Pravda struck. As a result, the book was published only 10 years later, in 1962, carrying a recantation in its final section, which amounted to a denial of all that went before, and indeed of the author's life work. The relevant passages in it read. These mugs, man. The Khazar kingdom disintegrated and fell into pieces, from which the majority merged with other related peoples, and the minority, settling in Itil, lost its nationality and turned into a parasitic class with a Jewish coloration. The Russians never shunned the cultural achievements of the East, but from the Itil Khazars, the Russians took nothing. Thus, also, by the way, the militant Khazar Judaism was treated by other peoples connected with it. And the Magars, Bulgars, and Pechenegs, I can't even pronounce this word, Pechenegs, Alans, and Polovtsians, I gotta brush with my Russian, Polovtsians, the need to struggle with the exporters from Itil stimulated the unification of the Gurs and the Slavs around the golden throne of Kiev. And this unity in its turn created the possibility and prospect for a violent growth not only of the Russian state system, but also of ancient Russian culture. This culture has always been original and never depended on Khazar influence. Thus, insignificant Eastern elements in Rus culture, which were passed down by the Khazars and which one usually bears in mind when dealing with the problems of culture ties between the Rus and the Khazars, to which did not penetrate into the heart of Russian culture. But remain on the surface. Okay, on the surface and were of short duration and small significance. They offer no ground at all for pointing out a Khazar period in the history of Russian culture. The dictates of the party line completed the process of obliteration, which started with the flooding of the remnants of Sarkel. God dang, bruh. Man, we are dealing with some wicked mother suckers, bruh. I'm serious. We are dealing with some of the most vile, and here we still have these idiots running with them like it's all right. Remember the one little Jewish guy who was acting like he was some big hotshot, having sex with all these sisters and giving them HIV? Was that in Florida? Where was that? Was that Florida, Louisiana, or something like that? Do any of y'all remember that? A few years ago? And he got outed. I think he got so sick, I think he passed away or something, or he was going to the Caribbeans, all these Haitian Jamaicans, power to the people, Zion, the lion, Hail Selassie. Women just throwing it up on him. But I know he was North Carolina. Was it North Carolina? Or was it Florida? But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And he was just throwing, and they was just doing weird, freaky stuff just for $1 to be seen. All on Instagram, all stupid looking. Here we have, behold the pill. That's not beating up my sisters. It's holding our people accountable. And then the men, the sorry niggas who were probably popping each other in the butt, who allowed it, taking pictures as if it was some wild, crazy love affair. Huh. Namaste. As far as William Cooper. Okay, here we go. When we last left off, I believe we were right at the Messianic legacy. You can read of the lines of power that resulted in the secret world government, right? Most members of the Freemasons are not aware that the Illuminati practice, we were there. And so we write down here now, I just want to make sure, because yeah. Yeah, I read this part, and we know that we're seeing it right now, but it's deeper and worse than this. I firmly believe that all the adult secret societies that practice degrees of initiation and consider the members of the Illuminated are branches of the original ages old Illuminati. Their goal is to rule the world, and the doctrine of this group is not democracy or communism, but a form of fascism. The doctrine is totalitarian socialism. And you must begin to think correctly. The Illuminati are not communists, but some communists are Illuminati. Monarchism thesis faced democracy antithesis in World War One, which resulted in the formation of communism in the League of Nations. Synthesis. Democracy and communism. And we read all that. So let's move on. The 1953 report of the California Senate Investigation Committee on Education stated so-called modern communism is apparently the same hypocritical world conspiracy to destroy civilization that was founded by the Illuminati and that raised its head in our colonies here at the critical period before the adoption of our Constitution. The California Senate understood that communism is the work of the Illuminati. They failed to realize that the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission are also the work of the Illuminati. Hence, JFK, silencing the truth, fake CIA. You must begin to think correctly. The enemy is not communism, it is Illuminism. The communists are not going to be much happier with the New World Order than we. And you see that right the fuck now. I hope to show that most modern secret societies, and especially those that practice degrees of initiation, and that is the key, are really one society with one purpose. You may call them whatever you wish. The Order of the Quest, the Jason Society, the Roshaniya, Hindu, the Kabbalah, fake Jews, the Knights Templar, Peckerwoods, the Knights of Malta, you already know the Black Pope, the Knights of Columbus, the Black Pope, the Jesuits, the Black Pope, the Masons, a bunch of idiots, the ancient and mystical order of Rosacruces. Yeah, you wonder why so many Spanish people are murdering one another in so-called Mexico, because not all of them are the same people. The Illuminati, the Nazi Party, the Communist Party, and the executive members of the Council on Foreign Relations. The group, the Brotherhood of the Dragon, the Rosicrucians, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, the Open Friendly Secret Society, the Vatican, the Russell Trust, the Skull and Bones, the Scroll and Key, the Order. They made movies about some of these. They are all the same and all work toward the same ultimate goal, a new world order. Here we are running around divided and separated like we think we somebody. I know a couple of niggas will come over here and they belong to some of that shit. Blindly. Many of them, however, disagree on exactly who will rule this new world order. And that is what causes them to sometimes pull in opposite directions, while nevertheless proceeding toward the same goal. The Vatican, for instance, wants the Pope to head the world coalition. Some want Lord Matthias to head the New World Order. Lord Matthias is the front runner, and I believe, since witnesses say he was present on the ship at Malta with Bush, Gorbachev, and the 10 regional heads of the New World Order. Approximately 200 dignitaries from around the world attended a major conference initiated by Maitreya in London on April 21st and 22nd, 1990. Representatives of governments, including the USA, members of royal families, religious leaders, and journalists, all of whom had met with Maitreya previously, attended the conference, and quote from Prophecy Watch. Quote from Prophecy Watch, column of Whole Wheat number 8, Minneapolis. That's crazy. Someone has also spent an awful lot of money announcing his presence. The Pope will have to approve him in Matthias is selected. If Matthias is selected, however, and that would fulfill the Bible prophecy in the book of Revelations that states that the first beast will be given his power by Rome. If you can interpret Revelations as I can, then you know that the Pope will ultimately win out and will reign as the second beast. Shit. All right, we're going to leave it at that. Didn't the fake ass king who nobody hears nothing from England in this coronation make a statement at the HIN or whatever the fuck it's called, WHO, whatever the fuck, about he's here, he has more money than all the billionaires combined? Remember that? Remember that? And everybody is still running around acting like idiots, worried about Charles, what Charles White says. It's the idiots, you know, trying to make you look like a fucking idiot. And all them little goofies that follow you look like idiots, you know. And nobody wants to speak upon facts. You see what I'm saying? Excuse my language. But thank you for allowing me to read that. Later on, we're going to get into the other books, and I'm going to read the other one, which I know y'all was like, dude, when we're talking about the Hatha material, dude, the Reptilian, the History of Humankind, that book is a banger. I got to read. I don't care whatever excerpts I read out of these books, they're going to get read with the other ones. Man, it's phenomenal when you start putting things together and you see things in a different, you know what I'm saying? Who's all in here? Oh, my apologies. Somebody popped up. Ronald, what's going on, beloved brother? Baba, what's cracking, man? Yeah, brother, let's speak regular up in here, brother. We don't need all that, brother. It doesn't matter where you from. All right, West Side, what's going on? Some of love in here, all right? Evelyn Smiley, what's going on, aka American Nation? What's going on, beautiful sister? What's going on? APJR, what's cracking? What's going on, beloved? Navi, what's up, baby girl? Herbo, what's up, big man? But anyway, I appreciate y'all letting me take the time to read that. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. I'm gonna got my meal down the oven. I need to go and pull it out. Let me see if my cinnamon, dandelion, whatever the tea. Let me see. Damn, that's hot. Oh, it's so good. Oh my goodness, that is good. That is freaking good. But I appreciate y'all. And in about 2.5, 3 hours, about 5 to 6 o'clock, we'll get into the ladder reading. And it's gonna be a good one. And we're getting at the end of the Heaven Bearers, so I hope you're appreciating that. Mad respect, mad love to all. And you know how it is. I'm gonna sign off. My beautiful beloved sisters, to my brothers, 2 on the 1. We gotta hold the fort, you know what I'm saying? We gotta keep it together. You dig what I'm saying? People want to follow certain individuals, don't follow me. Just get what you can from me, learn, reciprocate it by studying to be self-affirmed, become one with self, and know that you're very powerful, and stop placating the rules of chaos. Stop being into the chaotic realm of nonsense. All right? In order to illuminate, you must elevate. And that's the bottom line. We all know that. It's been said numerous different ways by many different characters over the last couple of decades, last 40 decades. But most of them have had an agenda behind it. No, it's about you being rich with self. And being rich with self, we all become one. We walk as one. We move as one. The problem is, we still have all these people who are divided because you talked about so-and-so. And you said, and this all discombobulated. If it ain't the men acting effeminate and then the women acting like they were acting, you hear me? Thinking they're men. And that's a disease. We can right that wrong and manifest a different change. All right? Can't be in the darkness and claim and profess you walk in the light. There's just no way around it. All right? There's no way. I can't wait to shave all this off and see what y'all gonna be like, this nigga. And shrimp up the mustache. I might throw a Hitler on there. What do y'all think? No, I'm just kidding. I ain't gonna do that. But anyway, I appreciate y'all coming in. Appreciate the likes. We don't need to be on here for no 3-4 hours. Podcast is gonna be a banger. I already gave you a little hint of what it's gonna be about. And so until then, y'all have a grand day. Appreciate y'all. Facts, and they all trying to hit a bank run. I know, man. Yo, thank you for saying that, man. Come on, man. And look, the banks are going to show you that they're in control, because the moment people start panicking, they're going to move in. See, this is what people don't get. Fuck them. I'm telling you, man, look, we could all be pumped up on certain people's land right now without our little fake emotions and feelings, and magistrating something different, something of difference, and elevate ourselves and have no fret, no worries, as long as they don't cross that line. Talk to y'all in a little bit.